You're a disgrace of a son. I don't even recognize you anymore. That's the last thing my mother said to me before slamming the phone down. Her voice cracked halfway through the sentence, but the venom still landed. I sat there in the kitchen, staring at the cold coffee I hadn't touched, feeling like a 16-year-old again, being scolded for something that wasn't even my fault. Only this time, it wasn't about bad grades or forgetting chores. It was about my newborn daughter, about the one person I'd sworn to protect above everyone else. I wish that had been the end of it, but it wasn't. The messages started flooding in. First, my parents, then my cousins, then people I hadn't spoken to in years. Each one had a different variation of the same accusation. I was cruel, selfish, heartless. How could I do this to Claire? And every time I read those words, I could hear Claire's voice in the back of my head. Sarcastic, cutting, smug. The same tone she used years ago when she told my wife, "You're not going to last with him. He's not strong enough to be a real husband." The same voice that once laughed when I worked double shifts to fix the car she wrecked and said, "Don't whine. At least you're good for something." Now, that same person wanted to meet my baby. My sister, Claire, is 33. I'm 30. Growing up, she had the kind of energy that swallowed every room. She could be dazzling when she wanted, but she also knew how to wound. And my parents? They let her. No matter what she did, she was untouchable. I was always the one expected to swallow my hurt, to forgive, to keep the peace. By the time I was an adult, I stopped asking her for anything. When she skipped my wedding, she didn't even make an excuse that sounded real. She just texted me, "I'm not in the mood to celebrate strangers." That was Claire, always sharper than a knife, never caring where the blade landed. But then, earlier this year, came the diagnosis. Cancer, stage 4, a timeline measured in months, not years. For the first time, I cried for her. No matter how difficult she was still my sister. I tried, at first, to be supportive. I called. I texted. Sometimes she was warm. Sometimes she snapped at me. Sometimes she ignored me. I told myself it was the illness, that I could be patient. Then my daughter was born, and everything changed. My wife went through a brutal labor, and the recovery left her shaken. She cried almost every night, not just from exhaustion, but from fear. Fear of germs, fear of sickness, fear of anyone touching our baby the wrong way. And I understood. This child is our whole world now. Her safety comes first, always. So when Claire called last week and said, flatly, "I want to come meet her before it's too late," my stomach turned to stone. I tried to be gentle. I told her it wasn't a good time, but we could set up a video call. She didn't respond with sadness or understanding or even anger I could reason with. She just hung up. Within hours, my parents were on the attack. My father said, "Do you realize what you're doing? You're denying your sister her dying wish. What kind of man does that?" My mother sobbed so hard I could barely make out her words. But what came through clear was, "I didn't raise you to be this heartless." It didn't stop there. Cousins texted me. An aunt messaged me on Facebook. One even wrote, "Imagine your daughter grows up and refuses to see you on your deathbed. That's the legacy you're creating." It was humiliation piled on humiliation. And yet, no one asked how my wife was coping. No one cared that she broke down in tears when I even mentioned Claire visiting. No one considered that our baby, barely 2 months old, was too fragile to be exposed to someone sick. It was all about Claire. Always Claire. The fights in my house have been quiet, but heavy. My wife whispers through her tears, "Please, don't let them push us into this. Please." She holds our daughter close, rocking her as if she's shielding her from the entire world. But then, when the baby is asleep and the house is quiet, I lie awake and think, am I doing the right thing? Am I protecting my family? Or am I letting resentment guide me? Am I punishing Claire for the years she made me feel worthless? And what if she dies next month? What if my daughter grows up never having seen her aunt and everyone tells her, "Your father wouldn't allow it"? What if I carry that weight forever? Every corner I turn feels like a trap. If I say yes, I betray my wife. If I say no, I'm the monster everyone already believes me to be. The worst moment came 2 nights ago. My parents called again, this time on speakerphone. My wife sat beside me, silent but shaking. My father's voice was sharp, every word like a slap. "She doesn't have time, Mark. She doesn't have time for your grudges or your wife's panic attacks. She needs this. She deserves this." My mother added, through tears, "When you hold that baby, don't you think about family? Don't you want your daughter to know what it means to forgive?" I wanted to scream, to tell them that forgiveness has a cost. That family is supposed to mean safety, not pain. But the words got stuck in my throat. And instead, I just said quietly, "I can't. Not right now." The silence that followed was worse than the yelling. Then my father muttered, "I don't know who you are anymore." And the line went dead. So here I am. Every day, I hold my daughter and tell myself I'm protecting her. Every night, I wonder if I'm tearing my family apart. And I can't shake the feeling that no matter what I choose, I've already lost. Monday morning felt like walking into a storm I hadn't even seen forming. I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. At first, I thought it was just the usual early text from work, but when I picked it up, there were dozens of notifications. My cousin had tagged me in a Facebook post. The post was from Claire. It was long, a wall of text with several pictures of her in the hospital. Pale face, tubes, the sterile bed. In the caption, she wrote, "Some people talk about family, but when you're dying, you learn who really loves you. My own brother refuses to let me meet my niece. voice. Apparently, protecting his wife's delicate feelings is more important than giving me one final memory. I don't know how someone can be so cold when all I wanted was to hold my sister's child once before I'm gone. I felt my stomach flip. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. Then I saw the comments. Neighbors from our old street, distant cousins, even people I hadn't spoken to since high school. They were piling on. Cruel, heartless, inhuman. One person wrote, "Imagine telling your dying sister no. That's something you'll regret forever." Another added, "His poor wife has poisoned him. He doesn't even think for himself anymore." Every ding of a new comment felt like another stone thrown at me. My wife was sitting on the couch, nursing the baby. She looked up and saw my face. "What's wrong?" she asked. I didn't want to show her. I didn't want her to carry even more weight than she already was. But she kept pressing until I handed her the phone. Her eyes scanned the post, then the comments. Her lips parted, and she let out this broken sound, half sob, half gasp. "She's painting you like a villain," she whispered. "And now everyone believes it." She handed me the phone like it was on fire. Then she started crying, rocking our daughter harder against her chest. "This isn't fair," she kept saying. "This isn't fair." I called Claire immediately. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Nothing. A few minutes later, I got a text. "You made your choice. Now everyone knows." By evening, my parents had called. My father didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Do you see what you've done?" His voice was sharp, brittle, like glass about to shatter. "Your sister is dying, and instead of giving her peace, you've humiliated her. You've shamed her in her final months. Is that how you want her to remember you?" Before I could respond, my mother cut in, sobbing. "Just 1 hour. Please, just 1 hour. Let her see the baby once. That's all she's asking. You can't deny her that. You can't." I tried to explain that my wife was barely holding herself together, that the baby was too little, too fragile, that Claire had crossed a line by dragging this on his social media. But they wouldn't listen. Every word I spoke was met with interruptions, excuses, selfishness. "You've changed. You're cruel." By the end of the call, I wasn't even angry. I was numb. But then, something unexpected happened. Later that night, my aunt called me privately. She had stayed quiet through all of this, never commenting on the family chat, never joining the attacks. When I answered, her voice was calm, steady. "I saw the post," she said, "and I need you to hear this. Your job is to protect your wife and child, not to please everyone else. People forget that. They want drama, not reality. But I see you, and I agree with you." For the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't completely alone. I thanked her. She said, "Don't let them guilt you into doing something you'll regret. Claire's anger isn't about you. It's about what's happening to her, and she's lashing out." I held on to her words like a lifeline. Still, the fallout hasn't stopped. Half of my extended family isn't speaking to me. The other half keeps sending messages, each one dripping with guilt and shame. My father calls every day, his voice growing more desperate. My mother leaves voicemails filled with tears. And Claire? She hasn't spoken to me directly since that post. Just silence. My wife refuses to go online now. She says reading those comments makes her feel sick. She asked me yesterday, "Do you think they'll ever forgive us? Do you think she'll ever forgive you?" I didn't have an answer, so I just keep holding my daughter, staring at her tiny hands, her small breaths. And I keep asking myself the same question over and over. Am I protecting my family, or am I destroying my family? And worse, what if those are the same thing?
You are not the AITA here. Safeguarding your newborn and supporting your wife's fragile recovery isn't cruelty, it's the bare minimum of responsible parenthood. Claire's illness is tragic, but tragedy doesn't erase history, nor does it grant her the right to bulldoze boundaries. Public shaming through social media was a manipulative ambush, not a heartfelt plea. My insight? Guilt has been weaponized against you your whole life, and this is just the latest chapter. My suggestion? Stay firm, let your wife know she isn't crazy for needing safety, and maybe remind everyone that hand sanitizer isn't a substitute for emotional healing. Humor angle? If Claire really wanted to meet the baby, she could have mailed a Hallmark card instead of orchestrating a Facebook circus. Before we jump into the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know your favorite part in the comments.
Story 2.
I'm 25 and living with a chronic illness. My parents have supported me every step of the way, driving me to appointments, helping with meals, and sitting with me when I'm too weak to move. I love them for it. But every single day, sometimes multiple times, they ask me the same question. How are you feeling? I know it comes from love, but it's exhausting. Some mornings I don't even know how I feel yet, and the question makes me feel like I'm only seen as sick. Once, my mom flipped on the light before I was awake, just to ask. Another time, my dad got annoyed when I said, I don't know anymore. It makes me feel guilty because they mean well, but at the same time, I feel suffocated and wish I could just have moments where I'm not reminded of my illness. So now I'm wondering, am I wrong for feeling frustrated with the very people who've done the most for me?
You are not the AITA. Constant wellness check-ins, even when rooted in devotion, can morph into emotional clutter that strips away your identity beyond the diagnosis. My insight? Love can become smothering when it forgets balance. Suggestion: create a status update system, maybe a whiteboard or simple daily note, so they feel informed without interrogations. Humor angle? Right now, you're basically starring in The Truman Show, Medical Edition, and even Jim Carrey would ask for a commercial break. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to check out AITA for wanting to leave my marriage over my MIL. Click here to watch it now.